right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Tonight, clean up confusion. Residents worry over color-coded stickers on their damaged homes.
I would like to know, because I don't want to be in my house and it starts stably sounding and it fall on me.
What you need to know in the city's push to rebuild.
We continue to have a break from the storms. I'm tracking our shower chances and dry time over the holiday weekend.
Our top story, 1 week after the storm, families are still in need.
I lost everything that I worked for.
One woman shares her story after being displaced from her home by the tornado. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson. 1 week after that deadly tornado destroyed thousands of homes and businesses in St. Louis, many families are still struggling and worried about their futures. Storm survivors are still reliving the heart-pounding moments. Today, 5 on Your Side's Robert Townsend met a woman who, along with her son, were sucked out of their north side home when the storm hit.
Last Friday afternoon started out as an ordinary one for 64-year-old Gwendolyn Hudgens.
I was in the front room on the computer, and my son was in the back in his room.
Suddenly, she heard hail pounding her home near Newstead and Labadie Avenues, and her 38-year-old son's shrilling screams.
Mom, Mom. And as he was calling me, everything just started falling on us.
Their North St. Louis home right in the path of an EF3 tornado.
We made it to the front door. I pulled the front door open, it slammed back. Ooh, it was very frightening.
As the terrified mom and son ran for their lives, their one-story brick home broke apart. The 150-mile-per-hour winds tossed them against a wall that also collapsed as Hudgens and her son were blown out of their home.
And the wind pushed us through that wall out on the lot. I thought I was dead because it was so much cement and stuff in my mouth, over my face.
Remarkably, they landed on their property next door with a few scratches.
I am 100% thankful that I am alive.
1 week later, Gwen held back tears when she walked with us around the now massive pile of wood, bricks,
this is my kitchen cabinet right here.
and countless memories.
This is my whole life out here.
She and her son are now living in these tents. The exhausted mom doesn't want to go to a shelter, and she doesn't have insurance. After the storm blew through, Hudgens just couldn't believe what happened to her home of nearly 40 years. Incredibly, her purple wooden shed, where she designed her arts and crafts, had some roof damage, but as you can see, it was still standing.
I guess it's a sign for me, girl, you better keep going.
The retired arts and crafts designer vows she will.
Yeah, I'm gonna rebuild.
Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
City officials also want to remind storm survivors in need of assistance to call the United Way at 211. Also, they asked to be patient because the agency is trying to help a long list of people. In the coming days, city leaders will continue their work of inspecting storm-damaged properties and identifying structures that are potentially unsafe. New tonight, Brent Solomon breaks down what you need to know about the city placing color-coded notices on homes. Brent?
I want to clear up some of the confusion that's circulating about this. Yes, building inspectors are placing red, yellow, orange, and green notices on doors. No, they're not telling you to get up and get out of your home.
All around Academy Avenue in St. Louis, signs of devastation 1 week after the deadly tornado hit. The damage to properties is significant and widespread.
Windows busted out, we lost the fence, we got some roof damage.
In many cases, people can still live in their homes. In other cases, it may not be safe to do so. It's why the city has already placed some 660 red notices on doors, indicating severe concerns about those structures. Some 500 orange and yellow notices indicate moderate concern. If you see a green notice, that means there's little to no hazard. More than 600 of those have been placed so far.
This is purely informational, and we will not be enforcing any laws as it relates to entering buildings, and we are not condemning any buildings at this time.
I would like to know, because I don't want to be in my house and it starts stably sounding and it fall on me.
When you put a sticker on their house and they tell them they got to get out, what if they don't have no place to go? What if they ain't got a family in St. Louis?
Mayor Spencer reassuring storm survivors she's not giving them an ultimatum.
We were aware that the red stickers that were going on homes were scary and frightening and adding to the trauma that our community was experiencing.
Another city leader who happens to be a landlord says with all of the homes in bad shape, something's got to give.
The city is not wanting to condemn because that's been a bad word, but there are some buildings that are ultimately going to have to be condemned. And I think that we do not have enough places for people to shelter safely in the city, but I'm hoping that this is a regional thing, a metropolitan thing, and that people will help us out.
Building inspectors now continuing their assessments in the coming days, letting homeowners make the call on whether to stay or go. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Red Cross has 3 shelters open across the city for anyone needing a place to stay. That includes the Friendly Temple Outreach Center, the 12th and Park Recreation Center, and Refresh Community Church. As the city rebuilds from last week's tornadoes, other communities impacted by the March 14th storms can now apply for federal aid. President Trump approved Governor Mike Kehoe's disaster request, unlocking FEMA aid for families in 18 counties, including St. Louis, Franklin, Jefferson, and Iron. Public assistance is also available in more than 40 counties to help repair roads, bridges, and other infrastructure damaged by storms from mid-March through early April. I want to show you a live look over Energizer Park, where City SC's reserve team just finished up their game tonight. 100% of proceeds from the game went right to tornado relief efforts. It was a great night to support an even greater cause. And meteorologist Jim Castillo's here. Beautiful weather today, Jim, but not the case for all of Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, you know, I think Saturday's a pick day of the weekend, and we really just have to watch southwest Missouri. So the severe weather chance, not that far away. Wanted to point that out. So Springfield, Branson, also Joplin, Missouri, even a risk of tornadoes down there into Arkansas. So if you're traveling down there, be aware of that. Flood watch also in effect there in one of our counties and through Phelps County. But today was beautiful, like Kelly was saying. High pressure now kicking on to the east, and you can see a little bit of shower activity. This is just a little piece of energy coming our way for tonight. But really, it's over the weekend where some heavy rain, and we're talking even up to 7-8 inches in southwest Missouri. But Phelps County, 2, 4, 5 inches of rain down there. The rest of us, we're expecting some rain. I'll give you those totals coming up in Maine weather. But the headlines, a cool weekend, mainly just clouds Saturday. I'd say a spot shower in the forecast tonight or Saturday, and then showers really likely Sunday, Monday. More on that coming up.
All right, Jim. Today, dozens of people were in North City setting up their own donation drives to help their neighbors. One man set up a tent on Florissant Avenue to give out essential supplies to people impacted by the tornado. He told us his team of volunteers have fed about 500 people since starting Friday night. They're also offering clothes, cleaning supplies, brooms, rakes, working gloves, and safety goggles.
I think that people are starting to realize that we can't count on FEMA and Red Cross and big corporations, and we have to start leaning towards each other. My brother always says the reason they don't play one-on-one in the NBA is because it doesn't matter how good you play by yourself. Life is a team sport, and St. Louis is a team.
Tomorrow, organizers will hold a resource festival on Florissant Avenue. That's from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Local advertisers are turning their trash into a much-needed resource. The Outdoor Advertisers Association put out a call for old billboard advertisements to use as tarps. The billboards are made out of weather vinyl, so they can withstand the rain and cover hundreds of square feet. One advertiser says it was a genius idea.
It's kind of a natural, you know, it's just like, hey, we got tarps. These are tarps, and they're better than the ones in the store. So the vinyls are just a natural thing, and these things are really strong. They're strong and they last. They work well.
If you or someone you know needs a tarp for their roof, you are encouraged to call the Outdoor Advertisers Association in Missouri and Illinois directly. You can find that information under the As Seen on TV tab on KSDK.com. Dozens of people were back at the Urban League for day 2 of its tornado relief drive. 5 on Your Side partnered with the group for the event. Volunteers passed out hot meals, water, and other resources. Organizers say they are able to make 5,000 meals a day. Volunteers say they're ready to do anything for their neighbors.
It's hard to imagine how anyone could go on and exist during these kind of conditions. This is a small amount, but it's from our heart, and it's what we do to keep this town and this whole city together, St. Louis strong.
The group will be distributing food tomorrow at their Kings Highway headquarters. Right now, close to 3,000 Ameren customers are still without power. That is down from more than 80,000 right after the tornado. Nearly 2,700 workers are out restoring service, and they're still adding up damage. But a spokesperson says so far they have replaced more than 650 power poles.
We do want to thank all of the other disaster recovery groups that took a step back and let Ameren get in first to restore power and also to make the zone safe from an electrical standpoint.
Ameren hopes to have all service restored by Sunday night. Today, Spire sent multiple crews out into North St. Louis to check for gas leaks. The company has warned people to watch out for leaks in the wake of the storm. Officials say crews were able to repair any damaged gas lines immediately. They also tell us they'll be out for days to make sure everyone is safe.
This is a very fluid situation out here. There's a lot of equipment moving around, and we just want to make sure that our customers are safe and we continue to deliver safe and reliable energy.
Natural gas has no color or smell, so companies like Spire add a chemical to help detect leaks. It gives the gas that strong sulfur or rotten egg odor. And you can find more ways to give to those in need on KSDK.com. We also have resources for people impacted by the tornado. For a link, just text the word storm to 314-425-5355.
Weekend worries. As the Memorial Day travel season starts, see the national change that could put a delay on your trip. As cleanup efforts continue, a new concern arises.
The contaminants are airborne.
What you can do to stay safe from breathing in hazardous materials.
Storm cleanup continues. I'll have the latest timing on dry time this weekend. Also, some shower chances.
Tonight, President Trump is reigniting the trade war, this time taking aim at the European Union and a tech giant. The president is threatening a 50% tariff on imports from the trade partner on June 1st. White House officials say they hope this will help push trade discussions. President Trump is also planning a 25% tariff on Apple if the company doesn't make iPhones in the U.S.
He said he's going to India to build plants. I said, that's okay to go to India, but you're not going to sell into here without tariffs. And that's the way it is. We're talking about the iPhone now, and, you know, the iPhone, if they're going to sell it in America, I want it to be built in the United States.
Ultimate.
Tech experts say a move by Apple to the U.S. could raise the iPhone's price by thousands. President Trump announced a new partnership between U.S. Steel and Japanese steelmaker Nippon. U.S. Steel owns a location in Granite City. White House officials say this deal would add $14 billion into the U.S. economy and create close to 70,000 jobs. Democrats and Republicans have fought against the deal since 2023. Former President Joe Biden blocked a takeover by Nippon in his last week of office. Boeing struck a deal with the Department of Justice to avoid prosecution over 2 fatal plane crashes. The company faced fraud charges over allegedly lying about the safety of its 737 jets. Boeing must now pay more than $1 billion in fines, commit to new safety programs, and offer payments to the families of close to 350 people who died in 2 crashes in 2018 and 2019. There's growing concern tonight about what's in the air over the tornado-damaged parts of the city. Many of those homes were built before the 80s when hazardous materials were part of normal construction practices. 5 On Your Side's Tracy Henson looked into concerns and spoke with experts about what you need to know to stay safe.
If you look around the community in this storm, we have several houses throughout the community that are torn down, which means that the contaminants are airborne.
There are a lot of health concerns out there. We have asbestos, we have other contaminants when we have buildings that are have been destroyed.
Buildings built before the 80s when lead paint and asbestos were common construction materials.
Buildings which are built before 1978, so there is a chance that a lead particle can go out from them after this storm. The symptoms could be, little bit vague for lead poisoning, and it can have variety of symptoms such as like headache, stomach cramp, tummy pain, nausea, vomiting, and sometimes feeling little bit tired and drowsy.
Certainly, you don't want to be obviously exposed to asbestos. I think everybody knows asbestos is, it can cause certain types of cancers, especially around the lung. And that can take a long time before it manifests itself. You really want to try to avoid being exposed to a lot of these.
Cleanup and reconstruction will have to happen. To protect yourself,
I will highly advise if somebody is going to that construction area or live very close to the area where it got damaged, to wear mask.
Wear a N95 mask. Everybody knows about N95 masks.
And the city of St. Louis has distributed masks into neighborhoods at risk. Another concern Dr. Mannion brought up was tetanus. It doesn't only happen by stepping on a nail. You can get it through dirt and an open cut. Well, here's a live look at Lambert St. Louis International Airport as travelers take off for their Memorial Day weekend. AAA says 45 million Americans will be traveling this year, with 18 million expected to fly. This will be the first Memorial Day weekend since the Real ID requirements kicked in. TSA officials are warning people to get to the airport early to avoid delays. And if you're driving for the holiday, here's a look at the current gas prices. The national average is $3.20, Illinois is $3.44, Missouri is $2.87, and St. Louis is also at $2.87. You can find the cheapest gas prices in our area by texting the word GAS to 314-425-5355. Let's check in with meteorologist Jim Castillo with the weather impact forecast. Everyone wants to know, how is the holiday shaping up?
Yes, we had such great weather for 3 days, and now the clouds are starting to roll back in. It may be a spot shower tonight or tomorrow morning, but mainly dry Saturday. Just a lot of clouds at about 70. Then on Sunday, that rain chance really does ramp up. It looks like morning through the afternoon, 65, maybe a dry evening. And then Monday morning, dry, it looks like, and then showers redevelop and hang around in the afternoon and into the early evening at about 66. So definitely one of the coolest holiday weekends we've had at the end of May here on Memorial Day weekend. High pressure sliding into Kentucky. Shower again chance right in central Missouri now, but most of that rain, let's zoom in here. Look at this. All weekend long, they'll have training of this. Showers and storms, some severe, and also very heavy rain. And we're talking a flood watch for the potential of flash flooding for Phelps County all the way into southwest Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. So if you're traveling down there, take it really serious, because we're talking 7-8 inches of rain in parts of southwest Missouri. All right, we'll get to our rain amounts coming up. 66 right now. It is a nice evening. East wind at 6 miles an hour. The humidity still low at 42%. So any of those showers that begin likely aren't even reaching the ground yet. But we might see still a sprinkle out here in our western counties during the overnight hours, possibly into St. Louis. But overnight lows a little bit warmer than they were last night, so 50s instead of 40s. And then tomorrow, plenty of clouds. Again, that chance of a spot shower early, and then low 70s for high temperatures. And here's the futurecast. So there it is for Saturday. Even 6:30 p.m., we might actually see a little bit of sunshine mixing in, which is nice after a mostly cloudy start. And then 8 a.m. on Sunday, shower chances all around the entire area through late morning into the early afternoon here. And it looks like generally light. You got to go down to Phelps County and south and westward to get those rumbles of thunder in there. And then on Monday, it kind of comes back at us again throughout the afternoon and evening hours. So rainfall potential, we'll take a look at this and get to the 7-day forecast. There it is, kind of heavy rain from Salem, Missouri, Rolla, Arcadia, and even around St. Louis, 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain, very possible. And as we go a little bit further north and east, probably 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of rain, but heavier to the southwest.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
You bet.
Here's Annie with sports.
And coming up next in sports, Mizzou football has a new local commit. Who will be cheering on in Columbia? And the Battlehawks get their last regular season cacaw at home. All that coming up after the break. One day of rest made all the difference for the Cardinals tonight after battling the Goliath of the AL Central Division and the Tigers this week. Getting dealt 2 losses, the Redbirds bounce back with the perfect potion of a sizzling slinger and a good old-fashioned rally in the 6th inning. Back at home, on the mound was righty Miles Michaelis. The starter has one of the highest strike zone percentage pitchers in the game with an arsenal of a 4-seam fastball and a curveball that's hard for the Diamondbacks to catch tonight. Then it was Victor Scott II who would get a single to right, kick off a 6th inning that was for the ages. With the bases loaded, it's going to be Ivan Herrera's turn, who's going to get walked, and the Cardinals tie it up 1-1 in the good old-fashioned way. Then, you know him, you love him, it's Nolan Arenado. He's going to have the bases loaded, turns a triple. 3 more runs are going to score for the Cards. And then we have Ollie Marmol, who's going to tell us a little bit more about heading into tonight's game with his veteran starter.
I like the way he's using his stuff. It's been more effective than we've seen in the past. When you look at his ability to get ahead of hitters, he's done a really nice job with that. And then also pitching to chase locations once he's ahead has allowed for more soft contact, which has given him a lot more success.
And of course, we have to talk a little bit more about what's our next game. Oh yeah, it's the Battlehawks. They're playoff bound and have officially wrapped their last home game at the Dome this season. So getting ready to tackle the XFL conference game on June 8th here in St. Louis. They still wanted to stomp the San Antonio Brahmas, which they absolutely did tonight. You have, don't forget, St. Louis continuing to be the highest attendance of fans across the league. Quarterback Max Duggan wouldn't disappoint. A big pass to Pearson, 1st and down. Yeah, he got some more out of that. St. Louis strikes first, but had to settle for a 21-yard field goal to start things off. Also a light lift was this less than 2-yard touchdown courtesy of Jarvian Howard. This was perhaps my favorite play of the game, though, coming up. San Antonio is going to fumble the ball. It's really unfortunate to watch, but then you have Micah Abraham picks it up. Let's speed this up just a little bit, though, because of time, because you have a 70-yard run that turns into another touchdown. Battlehawks walk away winning 39-13. And in some other exciting football news, SLU's Keenan Harris has committed to Mizzou. The jack of all trades is playing between safety, linebacker, wide receiver, and he's also pretty darn tough in the paint because he's also a basketball player. That's where Coach Drink came back in January to watch the 4-star recruit come back, play in SLU, not only for football, but for basketball, and it certainly paid off with Coach Drink. He had a multitude of D1 offers, and you can see why, considering that, yeah, he's pretty good with his hands, so that's going to be a fun one to watch over here in Columbia. But let's talk about, yes, hockey. It's hard to watch playoff hockey right now when our Blues are not in there, but the Oilers were taking on Dallas with the Stars. We have another option coming up. Oh, it's going to be a deep sling. This one's tough to watch, but ultimately Edmonton is going to run away with this one 3-0. And by the time that we're talking about all this, it's hard to watch, Kelly, when you're thinking about what that last play was for the Blues.
I know.
Because you're like, you know what? That really could have been us.
Oh, boy. All right, thanks, Annie. A Happy Meal. How McDonald's is contributing to St. Louis's storm relief effort. Well, tonight, one lucky Missourian hit the jackpot. Someone in Bridgeton won the $100,000 prize on a big cash riches scratch-off ticket. The winning ticket was sold at a Quick Trip on St. Charles Road. Lottery officials say there are still 2 more tickets out there worth $100,000. This morning, the McDonald's on Natural Bridge Road gave back to those most impacted by last Friday's storms. Starting at 8 a.m., first responders and residents with damage were served a free breakfast. The owner says they had to extend the event past its end time because so many people showed up. All right, Jim, a final look at the forecast as we head into the holiday weekend.
We finally have the 7-day for you. This little clicker has a gremlin in it.
It has a mind of its own.
I hate when that happens, Jim.
It wasn't clicking. So now we've got it for you. 72 for Saturday. Again, mainly clouds, maybe a spot shower, especially early, but mainly dry. Then we get into Sunday, some showers in the area, not only in the morning, but also the afternoon. And then the evening looks dry. And then Monday morning, morning dry, and then we have showers redeveloping in the afternoon. And look at those mid-60s for Sunday and Monday. So a really cool holiday weekend.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Gorge.
thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. We are always streaming on 5+. Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That starts at 6 a.m. Have a great weekend and be safe.